I am very lucky to be joined by James Harper, the man from Haast Hunter. Haast Hunter?
Yeah, Haast.
Haast.
Whatever flows
Haast.
off the tongue. You know?
Haast.
Yeah.
Haast sound. I think Haast is better.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming along, bro, for making it from the Tron.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Oh, thank you for having me, bro. It's a pleasure to be here. You know?
Ah, no problem at all. Anytime. I've been checking out lots of your stuff. You guys have a really unique sound. It caught my attention, I think mainly because, well, for one, when I first heard Serpent Seeker, your latest single that just came out, which I really dig, I found it quite interesting in the terms of like the sort of combination of like the guitars to like the synths and then the vocal delivery, because you do all the lyric writing and all the vocals, right?
Yeah, man.
So what I kind of buzzed out at was like, it's a very interesting like fusion of a lot of, sounds to me like a lot of 90s rock metal alternative influences, but then kind of like mixing it in a way with like, I don't know, it's like very floaty.
Yeah.
I dug it a lot. A lot of Tool, a bit of Tool influence
Yeah,
there.
nice.
Mr. Bungle.
Yeah.
I'm hearing. Maybe Faith No More, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of other ones that like just straight away, like Mike Patton, like a lot of like kind of Mike. You listen to a lot of like Mike Patton.
Oh, well, definitely growing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, yeah, like pretty much all of the above, like you mentioned. Like we've had a few comparisons of the sort of 90s alt rock metal sort of vibes that are sprinkled in there with all our tracks. And yeah, that's a good observation there. And yeah, with that one, it was a pretty unique way of putting it together because basically like, I sort of just put all the structure together myself and I did all the guitars and synth and whatnot and sort of put down the template and presented it to the boys.
Yep.
And then they just did their thing over it, like bass and drums came after. So I did the classic, you know, do it all to a click and whatnot. And it was more like the reverse way of doing it for us and just seeing what sort of came out from that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a first for me using synth. So that was my first time sort of
playing around with it and
getting a feel for it. So it's, there's a lot of first times within that track. And like I'm real stoked with how it turned out. And we're getting some cool feedback and cool messages around it and whatnot.
It does feel like that and Sunshine do feel like, was that came out this year as well, was it?
Yeah.
Definitely compared to like some of the previous, definitely the elevation, like I definitely feel like the tracks are like elevating.
Yeah,
bit by bit with like when I, especially as all round production, but then almost like, the terms of the feel to then like your vocals. Because it sounds like in the beginning you're experimenting. It just sounds, to me, just with my, it sounds like you're trying out a lot of stuff.
Definitely. Yeah, man. Oh, you're totally, like, to be honest, it was by design, right? These 5 songs that are on Spotify. And like, we've only just come out to the world in May this year, right?
Wow.
And it was a real, like,
that's awesome. You guys have done so well in like that time.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. Like, it was a real, to be blunt, throw shit at the wall, see what sticks type methodology in terms of like the songs of how they came out. Like with that Stall Bobby, that was the first one we brought out, and that was me trying to rap. I was just like, fuck it, like I was just thrashing the new metal again, you know, that was sort of what's seeping through, and so I gave that a nudge, and then like Barbara Ave was actually an older song from like a year or so back, and that was more melodic. So we're like, oh well, let's just see how that goes. And then Dissonance was getting a bit more rocky, and let's just see how that goes and gauge the sort of, what perks people's interest or raises their eyebrows. And it was quite a good way of doing it. With Sunshine, that was our baby. Like that sort of was the first song we wrote, me and Rich, the drummer, when we got together. And so it's always sort of been there, but we were always sort of working on it and polishing it, and we're sort of real selective when we brought that out because we wanted to build somewhat, at least a little base first. We didn't want to start out with our strongest song, So we sort of wanted to lead to that release, if that makes sense, with the other ones. Just sort of painting the picture before we sort of hit it hard. Yeah,
that's wicked. I really loved the explanation video you guys got up of Serpent Seeker. I really love the lyrical background of that.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time. I'm assuming a song probably has been written about something like that, but I've never heard somebody explain that concept. Like, I really dug that. Like following people go after toxic people.
Yeah,
fucking hell.
It's so much more common than what you think, eh?
So common. So common. And I was just like, because I obviously selfishly I was in my life, and I'm like, definitely younger, like for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like, I've had a chat with one of my mates a little bit about this. It's sort of like, as a like with relationships, especially, just like exciting doesn't mean always good.
Yeah.
And a lot of like, I think maybe with men and women as well, like exciting relationships and that, but it's probably toxic in the big ups and downs.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you like that sort of thing, I mean, okay, but I don't think that's a good way to progress in terms of a relationship. I think it's nice to be healthy and to be stable, but I just got thinking about that kind of thing when you guys were explaining it, and I was like, yeah, there's a lot of people, not even just relationships, probably also toxic, just constant, like, I guess in terms of what we're presented in society on a day-to-day basis, chasing money at whatever the cost, chasing, I suppose, even power. A lot of people chase power in like kind of bizarre ways, and then they don't really care in how they get there, manipulate or lie, and then develop their toxic traits.
Yeah.
And I thought, I was just like, that's cool. That's kind of what that song reminded me of.
Yeah. No, it's common, man. And to like branch out that from that a little bit further, like there's that whole self-sabotage type vibe going too. So what I mean by that is like, those people that, from what I've witnessed over the years and whatnot, like they chase those sort of toxic people. They put themselves in those positions, so it's almost like they've got something else to deal with. Like they almost grow so accustomed to it. If they didn't have that type of drama in their life or whatnot, well, then they're forced to think inwards and look at themselves.
Yes.
And then that's a bit too, oh, no, this is a bit too much. I need something else external to me dealing with what I have going on, so I just prey on that type of energy. Does that make sense?
It does. It's like you don't want to deal with your own toxic traits or internal, let's say, how would I say, bad, I don't know, parts of you.
Yeah.
So then you kind of, you externally go after others.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Yeah, yeah. So that's something I'll probably expand on more in another song perhaps. But yeah, I've been finding writing music on that sort of subject matter or something like it's somewhat therapeutic as well,
Definitely. I think especially if you've been around a lot of people like that, and I think if that's all you kind of know, I mean, sometimes you don't get the option of how you grow up, right, with your childhood and things, and having people around you where it's like you don't know any different, but then you have to kind of like unlearn certain behaviors that might have been presented to you in your life, but some people don't learn. Some people get stuck in them, but it's also, like, comes that part, like, in my life experience, not that I'm very old, but gotten to a point where I'm like, I used to be, why do people act like that way? It's so shitty. They should change themselves, like, whether it's selfishly, greed, or narcissism, things like that. And then I've kind of gotten a little bit wiser, slightly, and just been like, they probably don't know any different.
Yeah. Exactly.
No one's probably come along and really told them, like, hey man, like that shit is like real bad, like what you're doing, and it's affecting, all these parts of your life, and like. But I also kind of believe, I think it's a Bill Burr joke. He's like, after the age of like 28 or 30, like that's it. Like it's pretty hard to undo. I mean, you can undo things. Of course it's possible, but it gets harder, I think. Yeah. Because that stuff has just become so ingrained.
Yes. Oh, definitely, man. And like, look, there's a saying that I live by, whether it's a good one or not, but it's one of the many ones in my mantra or whatever. It's just like less time understanding, more time accepting, right? Because it could do your head in, man, trying to get these people and understand where they're coming from and why are they doing that. It's just, I'm 38 now, and like I'm just at that point where I don't give a fuck. And like, if they want to be that person, that's cool.
Yeah, do that over there.
Yeah, do that over there. I accept you for you. That's cool. But yeah, you do you. Like, yeah. Yeah. And it's quite a freeing way of living. Like, I don't know if it's a way of avoiding certain conflict or certain conversations or whatnot, maybe, but like I think it just works for me, because like when you really try and dive deep and understand people within their toxic trait or the way they act and what their motivation is or whatever, it's just better to go, cool, well, that's them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like, so it's I think it's also like the other people who then want to fix those kinds of people, right? You get, especially in relationships, you get what I guess just typically, I suppose, mainly if it's a man and woman relationship, the woman gets attracted to the guy who's toxic traits and all that, and then tries to fix it and believe they can, that classic story. Yeah. It doesn't really go well. And vice versa, guys who get like, the kind of girl who's unavailable, but they're like, oh nah, we'll work it out, and then it doesn't.
And meanwhile, the right girl's right in front of them.
Yes, yeah.
How many times does that happen?
Oh, crazy,
You know?
crazy.
Yeah, still happens.
Still happens. Well, kind of a personal journey for me was discovering that I also had those toxic traits.
Yeah.
And I realized that I was like, I'm attracting what I put out, which was a concept I never thought about that much.
Yeah, right.
And then I was like, yeah, like I need to change.
Yeah. And when did you realize that on your journey? Like, how old are you now?
I'm 29. 29,
29,
yeah. So
cool.
I would have been 23 22, 23 when I learned that, which is luckily enough young, I suppose.
It is, man. Some people don't. So, yeah.
I kind of figured it out with just a really bad relationship I had. And I was like, it was quite interesting. It was like, for me, there was like a build-up.
Yeah.
And then this person just kind of brought out all the bad things. And then afterwards, I was like, kind of went in like a very down period. And I was like, kind of almost embarrassed as well. I was like, oh yeah, like of course these people are around me. Or these people might have been attracted to me or vice versa, because that's the behavior that I'm also displaying.
Yeah.
And that's not really acceptable. And then it's also not just that it's not acceptable, but then if I want to find a partner, I'm with a great missus now, it's awesome.
Yeah, nice.
But I was like, if I want to find someone like that, they probably wouldn't want me at all.
Yeah.
You know? So that was something I got to learn.
Yeah, nice. That's cool, man. And it's cool you learn that at a young age, eh? Because it's the whole, like, soar with eagles, walk with turkeys type mentality, you know, like you are a reflection of, I think it's saying like they reckon the 5 people you hang out with the most, they rub off on you. You are a reflection of that tight circle you keep a lot of the times, you know, and it works and bounces off each other, you know.
Sorry, I'm just going to move that forward a bit.
Yeah, man. You'll find like that energy and that persona you put out attracts those people, and then it's an interchanging type exchange of energy, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, but that's cool, man. You found that out so early.
What about you?
Oh, well, my journey and whatnot, like...
If you don't mind me asking.
No, you're cool. Like, my journey and whatnot, like, yeah, exactly. Like, I went through, like, definitely, like, a different... Well, I suppose, to be fair, like, your typical teenage journey. Like, you know, I was a little thug doing heaps of shit, like, you know, doing all the drugs and doing everything. And, hanging out with the wrong people and going down the wrong path. And like, yeah, it was around that. It was around my early 20s where I was just had this like, hold up, this ain't me. Like, how did I actually get here? This happened so quickly, like where one day you sort of wake up and you're like, actually, no, I need to turn this around. Like, you know, this isn't who I am and whatnot. And it wasn't...
Did it hit you like a ton of bricks, or was it like kind of took a few little
moments
that happened,
milestones and moments, you know, like the odd sort of intervention, whether it was sort of like, you know, the old man giving you a wake-up call going, look, sort your shit out, or maybe some friends talking to you going, hey, look, who are you? Because you're not that same guy we started hanging out with and whatnot, and a good look in the mirror too. So it takes a few things to get to that point, you know. And it wasn't till sort of, yeah, I'd say sort of mid to late 20s, sort of even around your age, really, like where I've really first started to figure out exactly who I am, you know, with that sort of not give a fuck attitude came in, but just you're fully confident in yourself and what you stand for and who you are. And I think, yeah, when you realize that, when it really sinks in, it's very freeing, and it's very just so many doors, and like everything just opens up. You know, like sort of what I was saying before with like putting your energy into the wrong people and whatnot. When you figure out who you are and what you stand for, it's just, life can be easy. You know,
it definitely makes it easier. I think also like to live like I said, I'm still got a lot to learn, but I think living honestly, like a lot of people say that and they don't.
Yeah.
But it makes life a lot easier. It makes it tricky, but at least like I know what. Yeah, like I said, I know what you stand by.
Yeah.
A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but I think because I like, especially with my working life and working in a few different industries, including like event industry to being around the music industry to then being around like business, marketing to like trade. I've kind of had a few different jobs over the years, jumping around. It's been like I learned a lot about that kind of thing. Yeah, it's like it's definitely a journey with it. But anyway, let me I want to sort of touch on some other parts of the music. So the band, three piece.
3-piece, yeah. So like basically, yeah, we're 3-piece. We recently did some gigs with Sun Gods. Well, I know you have Conrad.
Yeah, I had Conrad on. Yeah, it was cool.
Awesome set of dudes, eh? They're real cool. So yeah, they sent us a message to jump on.
Did he use your gear?
He did.
I thought so.
Bassist Phil, he's a good dude. He used our bass amp and whatnot, and so they jumped out they reached out for us to jump on board with their tour, and it was so cool because it was our first gig ever playing with them, you know.
Wow.
And so our first gig we did Hamilton, then Tauranga, and then the following weekend Auckland, and it was just such a cool crash course in the gigging life in New Zealand, you know. Because like I said, I'm 38. I haven't played live since high school.
You never played like bands in your 20s or did any of that sort of thing? Or?
Yeah, my musical journey, it's quite crack up. Like, if there's one thing I've realised, I'll start there and then work backwards. Like, bands to be successful from what I've seen, yeah, you got to work hard. Like you really got to hustle and work hard. So definitely that. But then at the same time, you just have to have a group of people where you could actually connect and lock yourselves in a room and make some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so what I mean by that, like my journey, I've been trying to make a band since I was 18, man. You know, that's 20 years. And like you get a group together and then one drummer wants to go on an OE, so you start again, and then you get a singer in, and then, well, he's not really a singer anyway. He's just there to smoke weed on the couch, so doesn't really contribute. And then you're finding another singer, and then 3 bassists later, and another drummer. And the next thing, 20 years have gone by, and you're like, what? Like, fuck, where did I go wrong? Like, I've just really struggled to form the band, you know?
Wow. Yeah, that's epic. Yeah, I've had problems with that myself. I've just decided to go solo at the end of it.
Well, that's it, man. And that's how I'm the singer by default. Like, we got to the point where me and Richard, right, the drummer, we started it together. And that was 5 years ago, I think now. So, you know, we have been jamming together a while. But, like 8 or 9 bassists later, 3 or 4 singers. And I said to Rich,
are tricky.
Yeah, man, they're a tricky bunch.
Generally play in free bands as well.
Yeah?
Well, I found they generally play in a few bands because they're hard to find.
Yeah. And honestly, it got to the point where I said to Rich, the drummer, I was like, man, with the vocal thing, I'm singer by default. So I was like, look, man, we can't find anyone. Like, I'm just going to have to do it. So, you know, so that's been me for the last sort of year and a half, 2 years trying to pick that up.
Yeah.
And then we got to the point where we parted company with our last bassist. I said to Rich, I was like, mate, in terms of going for it, I'm happy just playing with you in the garage, like, you know, but if we're going to give it a good nudge, you know, we'll try and find another bassist, see what happens, see if they fit in, and we'll go from there. And then Chris came along, and breath of fresh air, just re-inspired all of us, and we're into it, you know, like I love having him on board. So we got the tight 3. And then to answer your question around 3-piece and whatnot, we had our good friends, my good friends, Louie and Mary Shaw. So they're a husband and wife. They helped us out with the gigs with the Sun God. So, you know, backup guitar, synth, some backing vocals from Mary.
Oh, wicked.
And it was fucking epic. It was real cool. And I jammed with them back in the day. So, like, I grew up with them, went to high school and whatnot. And I always wanted to play a gig with them. But it was the same thing. We could just never get it going, you know. So it was kind of fulfilling my own sort of childhood dream as well, having them on stage with me. So it was a real...
Oh, that's awesome.
It was like a real cool,
almost full, not a full circle, almost full circle.
Yeah, well, no, it is. Yeah, man. Yeah, it was cool. And it was a cool set of gigs. And yeah, just having that range, like Hamilton went off, Auckland went off. Tauranga was unique at the Voodoo Lounge there. It's quite a nice, cozy little
I've never
venue.
been to that one. I went to... oh man, the name is... I played there once with Caridian ages ago, in the band I was in. So quite a bigger... never mind. I'll think about it later.
Yeah.
But I played there.
What band were you in, bro? Forgive me.
Anemoy. No, that's all good. We broke up like years ago.
Yeah.
It was like a metal band.
Yeah.
We did that for a few years, but then we broke up into like 2016.
Yeah. And what was that? Just getting older, commitments?
Nah. Well, I guess the story about it is because Scotty and I were in the band together.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess if I was to tell a little bit of the tale, the singer kind of got pulled away doing other studio projects. She we had a female vocalist. She was awesome. Her name was Alana.
Yeah.
Still great, but she kind of got pulled away. Our bassist at the time got in a lot of trouble for narcotics and a few things.
Yes. Yeah.
So that happened, and then Scotty had some shit go down with like relationship, and he just was in a real bad headspace, and it was kind of a bit sad for me because we had like a tour we went on
Yeah.
with Caridium, which was awesome, and then we
Yeah.
had all this stuff, and then it kind of just went like after that, it just kind of all fell apart.
Yeah.
Which was a real shame, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it was like can't control it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I can't, you know, you're in a band, you know, other people have all sorts of stuff going on. If they're not going to commit, you can try to change their mind, but yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
So I was just sort of, so that kind of fizzled out. And then ever since then, just been doing some solo projects and bits and pieces. I do like because the animation really turned me on because I do a project called the Nighthawk Experience, which is like a kind of I do all animated videos for it.
Yeah, nice.
So all like kind of Japanese animations, almost like your Serpent Seeker that
that'd
Instagram.
be cool.
You guys do. That's why I saw it and I was like, oh, sick! Someone else is doing this cool shit too.
Yeah, man. I'd have to get you to do some stuff for me then.
Oh no, I don't do the animation myself.
Oh, you don't?
No, I had to get someone else. I storyboarded it and did all that.
Oh, yeah, nice.
But not that talented.
Yeah.
But having the AI out there now, I think, is more definitely much more helpful as well because it was a really cool experience. But man, it was expensive and it was a lot of work.
Yeah,
for sure.
It is
storyboard it all, and then to have it all animated, to then making all the little cuts and changes, everything sync up, and have it not look glitchy. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but it was awesome.
Yeah,
I think I did 2 videos, and then a couple of like kind of loop lyric video type things.
Yeah,
but I wanted to do more, and that's part of the reason why I stopped was because it just got too expensive.
Yeah.
So I think for me, for the future, I'd like to do some more, but I might start dabbling more in the AI video animation space because there's quite a bit more of that coming out and it's getting better, which is very exciting. I'm and also go back to the studio and do all that as well. I've had a bit of I've been in the studio recently, but that's not for like my own music.
Yeah, right.
So
what were you doing there? Like session type stuff?
Actually it's for a film. I've been working on a song for it's actually my girlfriend's dad. He's a director in Taiwan, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
So just been working on some music for that.
Yeah, nice.
Kind of like ballad rock kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I was quite the other day I did like a take with like an acoustic steel string guitar.
Yeah.
Like finger style in the studio. I'd never done it before. Fuck, it was a cunt.
Yeah. Oh, crack up.
Yeah, it was hard.
But it
was mean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love the studio. I was with Zoran Mendoza. I've had him on the podcast. He's like one of Auckland's kind of notorious producers, I'd suppose.
Right.
He's been in a band called oh man, I can't remember names at all today for some reason. Oh, so bad. But he man, he's gonna hate me if he listens to this. I can't remember his name. But he was in a well-known band, and he's produced like if you know Banks Arcade. Yeah. He produced them. He's produced like done stuff Study of Souls. He's done like a whole bunch of like a lot of New Zealand Caesar Conflict. Yeah. All those guys. He's done a lot of metal bands, rock bands, and kind of all
nice.
That. He's awesome. Great production as well. Like real, he's great. I love working with the guy. I was working with him last night. It was awesome. So yeah. But it's studio, high quality. Get it to a good level. It's expensive.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is, eh?
So who produces your stuff?
So at the moment we got no producer, right? So it's sort of me by default, and it's been cool, but we're definitely at that point where I want to get one on board,
Very well done for self-producing, like in terms of putting it out there and releasing it and that. It's quite tough.
Yeah, man, thanks. And like, there's definitely, like, I know hindsight, like, looking back, like, even Serpent Seeker, there's moments where I'm like, oh, I should maybe just trim the fat a little here, or did I really need to go into, that part like that and draw that out? Like, even now I'm still, you'll always keep learning, but looking at it from a different angle
it kind of reminds me of that like meme of like the skeleton at like the desk being like it's almost done.
Exactly, man.
You can spin forever.
Bro, and that's it. Sometimes you just got to call it and move on to the next one.
Yeah, bro.
Which we do. Like, I'm always writing, always recording stuff. We're typically down the lab in Mount Eden.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, they've been there. Yep.
Yeah. So Ollie Ollie, he's the main guy down there. He's the main engineer, and he's cool, man. Like, he's just cool to work with. I'll just flick him an email and book some time and just see what happens.
Mean.
Yeah,
like, that's so fun.
I love geeking out at it, eh?
The lab's a sick place. Yeah, I recorded drums there. Well, not myself. Scotty was doing some drums for me. And then it was wicked. I love that place. It was on my birthday. I had my 25th birthday, and I just got real drunk. Because I didn't need to do anything. So I was just there, just being the producer, being like, do it again. I was just drinking, having Scotty play, and he nailed it. Had some mates do some gang vocals. One of the best birthdays I've ever had in my life. Yeah. It was awesome.
Oh, sick. That's cool for a birthday, bro.
Yeah, it was wicked. I was like, I gotta do drums and probably do some stuff. I'm like, how do I organize this? I'm like, my birthday's coming up. Fuck yeah. Let's do that. So yeah. If I ever have a birthday again, like around studio time, and I need to do that, I'm gonna do that again.
Yeah, it's like, that's cool, man.
So fun.
Yeah.
And with the labs are such a cool space. It's a real buzzy, like because beside it, like, it was really old theater. Yeah. It's a really like kind of awesome part of Auckland that hasn't been fucking taken down or renovated. It's kind of like a bit of history, which is cool.
And hopefully they just keep it like that, eh?
I hope so. We love tearing shit down in Auckland.
Oh, we do. Man, Auckland does.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're the producer thing. I've been talking a lot with is his name Scott too, from the Boondocks?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I listened to your guys' potty together too.
Oh, wicked.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah,
it was real cool conversation.
He's awesome, dude.
He's a real nice guy, and like I tell you, those guys, they work hard, eh? Well, I was touching on before, and those guys go for it.
Telling me about the name the Boondocks is because they live out in fucking nowhere, and then coming into Auckland and doing all the gigs and playing, and I'm like, wow, like well done.
I don't know. He said they've done something like 40 shows this year, I think. Yeah, 40 gigs.
That's a lot of gigs for just...
It's a lot of gigs, man. That's damn near every weekend, or like, sometimes twice in a weekend and whatnot. So, but he's been very helpful, and he's been like just a good guy to sort of bounce stuff off, and like we just chat on Instagram and whatnot. But he put forward Scott Seabright's name.
Oh, yeah.
Another Scott. Yeah. So he's a guy I've reached out to, and I've had some good conversation with him. So hopefully we're going to work together sort of May.
He's really good.
He's in demand. He's a man in demand for sure.
Yeah. He's been around for a bit. He in a band I was in a long time ago. We got to luckily record at York Street Studio back when that was around. And he was interning there in that at the time, and got to meet him through there. And then he went to Roundhead, and I don't know if he's still at Roundhead, but yeah.
I think he's got his own thing going on at his place, eh?
Yeah.
He just goes to wherever, studio-wise. So it'll be cool, because I'm real keen to have, I suppose, someone just challenge me, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. For me, I need it vocally.
Yeah.
I need to be challenged a lot. Like, guitar-wise, I've been playing a bit. I feel pretty comfortable. It's like, oh, you reckon you could just give that a go? I'm like, yeah, sweet. Just give it a little whatever.
Yeah.
Bass, like, sweet. But vocals... I'm like, I need to kind of work with someone. Yeah. Because I'm like, I need to be pushed.
Yeah, I do too, man, for sure. Even though with this run up to these gigs we did, right, I really took that seriously and put in a lot of vocal training and exercises and warm ups, and like we almost treated it like a fight camp,
Yeah,
I watched a lot of MMA and boxing and stuff.
So I do a little bit myself.
Yeah, nice. So we had our dates. I was like, all right, let's go into training rehearsal mode. I want to get that voice, and like
wicked.
Man, it was on fire for those gigs. I was like, man, if I knew that prior to recording, if I treated it the same and prepared myself the same, instead of just, like, we'd have recording sessions and I'll be 15 minutes in and I'm getting like, oh, man, I don't know if I could finish this. But the prep for the gig, I got through a gig easy and I was just fine afterwards, you know? And lessons learned, for sure. Well, but I think for me, man, like with the producer thing, I think for me, pushing the vocals and also... just knowing when to trim the fat, because I'm a guy that falls in love with the riff, I'm like, do we need the riff on that song or not?
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
I think it was a Mastodon thing I watched. I love Mastodon, and
yes, that's another band I could hear a bit in some of your stuff.
I think it was Bill. He was saying like when they first got their producer on and how he was challenging them, and it just resonated hard. And he's just like, "What's that part of the song?" And he's like, oh, "It's the riff." He's like, "Why is it in there?" And he's like, because it's a riff. And I'm like, so it's sort of like, just remember, hey, look, we are storytellers, eh? Like, how do we tell the story? How do we portray what we're trying to put out there? And what's best for the song? Yeah, the song. That was a lesson that took me a little bit to learn when I definitely started recording, for sure. Yeah, I'm still learning it. Yeah. It's a hard one to learn, and just to be able to, no idea is a bad idea, that one as well. Just to try and, was it Darren Malaki from... System of a Down. Yeah, it was big on that, and I'm like, that's a good point. Like, if it sounds ridiculous, who cares? You gotta know. Yeah, what does it sound like? You gotta try it out. That's one thing I learned in the studio as well. Just like, you don't know. Yeah, it might sound silly, might be bizarre, might be like that sounds like, well, that's not gonna fucking work. Yeah. Oh, it works in like one of the layers, or it works.
Yeah, like I found that out a few times, and I'm just been like, yeah, I got to be open.
Yeah.
I used to fight a bit in the studio, definitely, like band members, and there's one producer I remember, and just a little shit, and I was just, I mean, to be fair, he would definitely like tell you that you're doing really shit, but he wouldn't tell you like, oh, that wasn't that great. He'd be like, we're not using that, and I'm like, why not? And he's just like, that was fucking terrible. And I'm like, what the fuck? And
But yeah, at least you weren't saying like, hey, look, okay, it's shit, but all right, what can I do to get it to that?
Yeah, there was no solution.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it was funny because like we butted heads, and that was we were all good. His name's Hayden. And he's also another producer to work at York Street. It's how I met him.
Nice.
But we used to fucking butt heads like no tomorrow.
So what would you say is the biggest lesson you've learnt from studio time and whatnot?
Obviously the big one, come prepared as much as you can. Have all your parts. Have the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, right.
Have that all sorted so you can save all the fun stuff for the studio. And what I mean is like, for me, like have like the main vocals, have all your rhythm guitar or your main leads sorted and like locked, having the bass locked and that nice and tight, having your drums pretty much, all that sort of stuff. And then in the studio, you can come in and then you can, because you know your parts so well. And then maybe the producer was like, oh, this part here, do you want to try, instead of going da-da, maybe try da-da-da-da, or,
Yeah.
Then you can kind of do cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
Rather than still trying to figure out the song.
Yeah, nice.
In the studio. That's a lesson I've learned. Because also you're actually wasting your own time.
Yeah, man. Well, that's what I feel like, because we've just sort of done that by default, I suppose. Like, we're pretty well dialed in before we go in there in terms of knowing the structure of the song.
Yeah,
like,
awesome.
Pretty much what you hear on those recordings, obviously because we don't have a producer, I essentially do pre-production myself, before we get in. But yeah, so what if a lot of bands almost write the songs while they're in there, eh? Like they just sort of go in with a riff and a melody and see what happens.
If you've got money, it'd be nice.
I know, man. Like, that's a costly exercise.
That is very costly.
Yeah.
I mean, the other one I learned as well is, the no idea is a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's another one. And, I think just sometimes, I think vocally, like you might have a bit of an off day.
Yeah.
And maybe if it's not... Because vocals is funny, because for me, I used to just be a guitarist. That was all I did for a long time. And then he'd be like, oh, I'm not really feeling it today. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, stop being a pansy. Like, get it done.
Yeah, yeah.
And then now I'm a singer. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
When it's the off day, it's like, ooh, this doesn't sound good. And like, this could sound a lot better, but something's off.
Yeah. It's weird vocals, man?
Vocals is funny. That's something that's been a very big learning, and I still find it now. Like I'm like, ooh, yeah, something's off.
Yeah, for me, like vocal practice is still forced. I need to say, all right, turning everything off, time to practice some vocals. Whereas, like guitar, you just noodle on the couch while watching TV, and a riff will come, and you're like, oh,
that's cool.
Where did this come from? You know. Whereas, you don't really just noodle with the vocals while watching telly or whatnot. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and because I think we may be similar. Like, it's vocals don't come naturally, so it is something that you gotta.
I have to go on like Logic and then have like a chorus looped, and then eventually I'm like, oh, or like figure something out, and then just like beat myself to death with that section to try and find something that works the best. Yeah, that's kind of how I do it.
Yeah,
but again, it's like a sort of a begrudging exercise. Yeah, it's not like as fun. Like get the riff, and then I'm like, oh, plug in the amp, and then I'm like, yeah, that's mean. Vocals, like it sounds mean when eventually I get the part, but like getting to the part it's not as fun as guitar. I don't think guitar is so much more fun.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I found for me lately with songwriting and whatnot, there's definitely. I have some songs where now it's coming together at the same time. Like where I might be on the acoustic and the melody and riff, it just happens.
Oh, wicked.
Simultaneously. And I'm like, awesome. I wonder if this is what proper songwriters do.
I mean, I haven't even got there myself. So,
but then I have some songs, like even with a couple that are on Spotify, like with Bobby and whatnot, where it was the old Maynard James Keenan method, which I heard him, I think it was on one of Rogan's potties, where he just takes the demo, drives somewhere and parks up and doesn't leave till he's got something.
Till he's got it.
And he's got that same song on repeat, and he's and I did that, like, And that works too, you know. Really.
Yeah, just looping it
Yeah.
over and over and over and over until you just like, have I got something? And then, yeah, if it works. How are you on like, because I don't know, some of the show you got some like cool harmonies and stuff. Like I find that to be one of the hardest things vocally.
Yeah.
To just figure them out. I can figure, like for me, figuring out like a lower part in the vocals. If I got a real high part, I find it quite easy. But like getting like a nice harmony, I find quite hard.
Yeah, for me that came first, man.
Oh, awesome.
Because
Jealous.
before I took the full, you know, frontman type role, I was that guitarist in the background, and I'm a massive John Frusciante fan. And that
right,
guy,
yeah.
we all
the
know
hums,
that guy
yeah.
does those sweet little hums
Yeah,
in the background. So I'd always practice to that sort of style, you know?
Oh, cool. Came nice and natural.
Yeah, so
Nice,
I'd always
nice.
sort of, with songs, that would just sort of come, whether I'd present them to the band or whatnot, they'd be in my head, like playing a riff, I'd kind of be doing it anyway. So like, yeah, those sort of harmonies and whatnot came naturally. For me, it's my biggest challenge is the lyric writing and dialing in a theme and a tone.
Yeah.
But once it's practice, it's flowing a lot more now. But I do find for me, it's writing personal stuff. It's a good conduit, a good release, good therapeutic type exercise that I quite enjoy. Like I've written songs where I might like pick a theme and write about a thing.
Yeah,
you know, like I think I wrote one. It was inspired by a Game of Thrones episode or something.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know,
Cool.
wrote about that, which was cool. I loved it, but like I think
Didn't feel as connected, maybe?
that's it. I think the ones that come from here, people can hear it. You know, people could sniff out something if it's not as sincere as something that's really personal. You know,
Sure.
I think for me anyway, at this stage in the songwriting process, like if it comes from here and it's more natural coming from the heart or whatnot, but people can resonate with it a lot more. But it's all a journey.
It is all a journey. A lot of figuring out,
Yeah.
trial and error. A lot of error for me, but
Yeah.
but you got to do it. Otherwise, yeah. I mean, it's always inspiring as well, listening to like bands you love and their early or precursor stuff, and you're like, oh, sweet. Like,
Yeah.
you don't feel as like, oh, why am I so shit? And it's like, oh, it's all right. I don't feel so bad now.
Exactly, and that's why talking about lessons and whatnot. One thing I've learned over this year hitting the studio heavy is recency bias is a thing. So when you leave the studio, that song is the greatest thing you've ever written.
Yeah.
And one thing I've learned is just sit on them for a bit.
Yeah, have a break.
Don't
Yeah,
put them out on
100%.
Spotify that night.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
chill out, you know. And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so, we've got about I think another 8 songs we haven't released.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Like done, mastered, boom.
Mean.
And there's probably 3 of them I don't want to, you know. Like
Yeah.
I've chalked them up to lesson learning. And this is a double-edged sword too. Like I don't know your opinion on it because maybe just because I don't like it, other people might like.
Well, that's it. But I guess you're the one who's going to have to play them, though.
And I got to live with it. Yeah, you
So
know.
that's the other thing. It's like
Yeah.
if people and like that's a decision you got to make. It's like if you're like, oh, I'm not into it, but then maybe people who love it, maybe you will be into it.
Yeah,
But then it's like, will you be into it?
yeah.
It's a weird one. I found that not with original music, but mainly with cover music. I did it for a couple of years playing in a cover band. And what I found was I did it mainly just to earn a bit of extra cash.
Yeah.
But I was just like, man, like this is tough sometimes. And then it got more tough.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't into it at all. Even if the crowd loved it.
Yeah.
They're loving it, singing it, partying. Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like a miserable old man. I'm just up there like,
Yeah.
playing fucking Mr. Brightside again. Fuck.
I've never been attracted to it, the cover thing.
Yeah, I mean, I mainly did it it was a cool exercise. I really loved it.
Yeah.
It was like an exercise of like, oh, let's see how far I can push. Like, can I play The Sweet Child of Mine solo? Let me try it.
Yeah.
Things like
That's
that.
cool. Yeah.
But then I think after a bit I was like, yeah, I'm just not in it. And then people come and have a good time, and then I'm just there standing there like, ugh.
Not getting
I'm
that
like,
fulfillment, right?
Nah, but I kind of knew I wouldn't, but I wanted to try it. I'm happy I did.
Yeah.
Really happy I did. But yeah, original music, yeah, will always be, yeah, for me, 100%. Like that's where all my enjoyment and passion and everything, and yeah, like creating your story, like you're saying, storytelling, writing something, showing something to people, or just proving something to yourself. A lot of the time I'm proving things to myself.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I find it as like an exercise for. And see and like how honest can I make it like how literal I want to be or whatever. And what if no one likes it, that's also all right because I like it.
Yeah, and that's what we said with the band, our mission statement. And like, I've heard many say this before. It's probably a good Josh Homme quote. I've heard others, but like, let's just make music that we love, and if other people like it, that's a bonus.
Yeah,
that's really been it.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I totally agree. Because otherwise, if you start chasing like not just trends, but you're chasing like people pleasing almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're like a DJ or in a cover band, I don't really see the point of doing that as a musician.
Yeah.
But, hey, some people make a lot of money. Hey, who am I to say?
Exactly, man. And yeah, he said another good one too, from Josh Homme with that Zane Lowe interview he recently did. It's something like, if you expect anything from music, you expect too much.
Yes.
And that made me think long and hard. I was like, what does he mean by that?
Yeah, I have to be a bit careful with that myself as well.
Yeah.
Like expectation management, managing your expectations a lot for me. Like I've learned that with local shows to things I've promoted to releasing stuff online. Especially, you know the process of writing a song to then jamming with the band, getting it good, to recording it and the struggles of getting a recording sounding all right, and the mixing and the mastering, and then releasing it and marketing to it. And it's just like, why is not the whole world thinking this is great?
That's it.
Like I'm not saying I've had the complete moment like that, but I've been I thought this would have at least gotten maybe not 50 views in a month. I thought it was going to get 500.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, eh? I think you're totally right. It is expectations. Like for me, like I'm incredibly humbled and grateful every day with how this journey's going, like with Sunshine, for example, right? Like that was the first song I wrote. I just went past, I got through a divorce. I was sort of essentially starting again. Me and Rich just sort of started getting together and jamming and whatnot, and had a bit of a night alone where I got bent out of shape and wrote some riffs, and then Sunshine came about. It was the first song I wrote lyrics for.
Yep.
And you go through everything, like you said, you've written the song, it's your baby, you've built it up, you've invested this money into recording it and getting it all mastered, you release it to the world and you're figuring out like what's going to happen. But I think long as you just stay true to that, like I know what it means to me.
Yes.
And if it resonates with someone else, and which it has, like I've had a few messages from people, like a lot from, I remember there's some dude at the gym in LA saying you've somehow found it. And he's going through some stuff, and he just wanted to say fucking sick song. A person from down south reached out and said, look, I love the track. This is exactly what I need right now. And so like for me, that's it. That's enough, man. Like
that's wicked.
I don't need that I don't need a platinum record with Sunshine written on it to hang on my wall. Like that's it. Like, you gotta be anything careful. Beyond that's a bonus.
Chasing the numbers of music is for sure. Like I think for me, like when I was definitely like my first serious band, I just had very high expectations, especially recording at a big studio. Yeah. Because I was in a band, they're a bit of the guys. Oh, do you know that, Swerve City? Yeah. Yeah. Shannon, bassist. We used to be in a band together a long time ago. But they're a little bit older than me. And we went to like recording at York Street Studio and did all that stuff. And I'm in my 18-year-old head. I'm like, this is going to be like the bomb.
Yeah, nice.
Just because you recorded a big studio doesn't mean it's going to be. No. But I thought that.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that too, though, eh?
Well, it's nice to have the dreams, but I think I was just, I was just like, okay, let's be a bit real. And then I started organizing own shows, and I really do enjoy kind of knowing how everything sort of works across the board, to doing the music, to the marketing, to the releasing stuff, to then putting on a show, organizing a gig, reaching out to people, how to organize a good show, how to make other band members' lives easier, organizing a drum kit, and drums are always fun to organize at a gig. Yeah. And then, just having like a smooth process, putting on somewhere nice, people can come along and, it's easy, for the band members, people enjoying it, to then the crowd then feels that. I was like, I got to learn a lot of that in the DIY kind of and I was like, oh, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
To even go in like a venue, which I've shat on a few times in this podcast, I'll say it again, is UFO.
Yeah,
And
I think I heard you mention something like that.
Yeah,
with,
and
Scott.
I went to their venue and I had to like redo they had a massive desk. It was just stupidly huge, like an old analog desk with like fucking like 60 channels or something.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was there, but it was there, and most of them didn't work. And I just remember spending the beginning of like when I got there to sound check, we had to redo, like go through the whole desk and find the channels that worked, to then like go into the stage box to all the amps and what worked, realizing that they didn't have any subs. So then they had a fucking massive bass rig.
Yeah.
So we ended up putting the kick drum through the bass rig and doing all this shit.
Yeah.
And it was so dope though. I look back on it fondly, but at the time it was like, oh fuck. But now I'm like, oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
But it's like moments like that, I'm like, oh yeah, it's like I'm really happy I got to learn a lot of that.
Yeah,
like
that's awesome.
You get to go to a gig and it's like, just people come and just put on a great show and just have a lot of fun. Like no one has to care about you. That's the other thing. No one needs to care. You should be, if one person cares, I've learned like you should be happy.
Yeah, man, that's it, eh? That's it. Hey, knowing what you know now, would you ever get into like event planning or whatnot? Like,
I thought about it, but it's
another Doug Fest type sort of guy. Like,
I'd love to help people out. I'm
Yeah.
all about helping people out, 100%. Especially in the local. I haven't really been asked.
Yeah.
But I
was just hearing your knowledge come through then. It's just like, well, you've seen and you know some stuff. And
thanks, man.
Yeah.
And I'm all for helping out.
Yeah.
100%. I've just never really been asked.
Yeah.
I've organised a fair few shows. Most of them have been my band with other bands.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But like, yeah, if anybody needs help, I'm more than happy to help, because local music scene, it's really nice seeing it kind of have like a bit of a resurgence in the last couple of, I think since COVID.
I think so, eh?
Post-COVID, everyone's like, fuck, what if we get locked down again? We can't go out. And there's definitely a bit of that going on, which is really, really cool. I hope it kind of brings back a bit more local music and people kind of... I mean, I can't go to everything, but nobody can. But you hope that you can kind of, like, people are more keen, like, local bands, gigs, and seeing new music.
Yeah. I think, like, trends too, eh, man? Like, I think it's time it comes around again. Like... I think the Doof Doof is sort of reaching its...
The Doof Doof has definitely had its time.
Yeah. A lot of time. Don't get me wrong.
It did have maybe too much time, some might say, yeah. It was kind of funny for me because, I guess when I finished high school, like, I was at this turning point of, like, alternative music in the charts was in the charts for quite a while, and then kind of, like, Skrillex, and then, like, all of that stuff came out and mixed with, like, who was another big deal? Avicii?
Yeah.
And then I kind of from that, it was like, boom, let's all do EDM.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of weird. Like, and then I think also maybe that 2008 recession potentially impacted, like hiring a band is expensive, hiring a DJ is cheap.
Yeah.
I think that happened as well.
Yeah.
And then I think just, I don't know, like this weird, the 2010s, I've talked about it I had the guys from Fingertight on here who were talking about it.
Yeah.
Talk about like why the scene kind of died off and now it's come back, and it's quite interesting, like just, things and culturally in society, but now, it's nice to see it all come back.
Yeah, I reckon it's a bit of everything, eh? Like, I think every like fashion trends, everything's cyclic, and like
the 90s
you
is
see like
cool.
the amount of girls nowadays or whatnot at the gym, and they got a Metallica Ride the Lightning t-shirt on, and they think it's a clothing brand or whatnot. Like,
it's wild, eh?
It's wild, but sooner or later they're going to be like, oh, I wonder what this is.
Yeah,
and they're going to listen, and they're going to be like, I wonder if there's anything else. Like, if this is trendy, what else is like that? And
well, it's like in that Stranger Things episode when they had Master of that guy, Master of Puppets, and I was like, oh, this is cool. But a lot of people are like, oh, what is this song? Crazy. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool that people found
it's
it that
awesome,
way.
eh? You could get so many people that are defensive, like the
all the gatekeepers.
Master of Puppets, 3. How dare you like them now? Like,
I bought their album back in 1985.
Yeah,
before it was released.
Yeah, but it's only a good thing, eh? The more ears on it, like, yeah.
Well, it's also like that Bring Me the Horizon Ed Sheeran performance at the Brit Awards. That buzzed me out. Did you watch that?
No.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
like, it's
I don't even know, man. Like, that's me. I'm
all good. But it's like those little, like, kind of big moments happen in sort of, I guess, mainstream or, I don't know, culture, I suppose, and pop culture. Yeah. And it was like, Ed Sheeran and Bring Me the Horizon collaborated on the song, what was it called? Very famous song he's got. Not Shape of You, but anyway.
But one of
one of those really big songs.
Yeah,
and they
one of
did it-
Ed's songs.
Yeah, one of Ed's songs, Bring Me the
heavied that
Horizon,
up.
with and heavied it up and screamed on it and shit. And I was like,
that'd be cool.
that's awesome. But I was
Yeah.
like, fuck, that's out of it.
Yeah.
And they did like a live gig at like Reading or something, or Glastonbury. I'm like, that's fucking sick. But it's like, oh wow, this is like creeping back to like the mainstream of like, you know, you listen to like the charts, like top 10, and you know, for me growing up, it was like, oh, probably have like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, and then there'd be like Green Day or something like that. And like, but that was just normal. Like you'd have like some pop, then you have some rock, then you have some 50 Cent would drop something, or, and then it kind of all became like then it was like rap or EDM and indie, which I was never really a fan of. So it's kind of funny, but it's just also cycling trends, I suppose, isn't it? Because I think to me, like the 2010s is sort of like like pop music is almost like the 80s.
Yeah,
it's a lot of singles. It's a lot of like throwaway stuff. Like because a lot of the stuff, like a lot of big songs from the 80s that I don't really have an example top of my head right now, but exactly like Master of Puppets and that.
Yeah,
those are big songs, 1980s, but it's like that wasn't a single.
Yeah,
you know, like, you know, that was Madonna had a song, or you know, one of those groups. But do you remember that Madonna song from that year that was number one? I mean, maybe, but it's interesting. I find that stuff quite fascinating.
That is interesting. Yeah, crack up, man. Oh, that's wild. That's wild. But yeah, one thing like the scene, like, because like I said, I've essentially been living under a rock. So now that we're sort of getting out there and meeting people and networking and whatnot, it is somewhat tight knit. Like, sort of everyone knows everyone in the local circuit, within the local bands and whatnot. Yeah,
there's definitely been a little bit of that. I always found it a bit funny, like, because I've been going to like local shows since I was a teenager, and like there was like the hardcore kind of metal punk that was kind of over here, and there was kind of like the rock stuff over here, and then there was kind of like indie over there, but now it's kind of started to mix a little bit more, especially like because I always found it weird, like the metal, like hardcore, you know, metalcore bands was like completely separate.
Yeah, and
then like there was like the rock bands over here, and I always found that weird, but now it's sort of crossed a lot more, which is good.
Yeah
It's like it should like people should just, as long as obviously like a rock band, metal band, hardcore band, death metal band, it's like put on a show together, make it exciting. I don't want to see 5 she-heads in one night.
Exactly, man.
Or I don't want to see like 5 I don't know, blind spots in one night or whatever, like, or I don't know, some real heavy band, or I don't know, 5 death metal bands in a row. It's, I mean, some people do, fair enough, but I like to see variety.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, we at that first gig we did with Sun Gods, we had this local band open, Riva band. Like, they're like these young reggae kids. So going from that to us to Sun God, it was such a diverse evening.
And that's so much more fun though, because it's like also like if you have like a reggae band or maybe an indie rock band or a softer band, and like maybe depending, you know, they might open up for you. That's a really nice way to open, rather than like everyone's cold and then suddenly there's like, you know, it's just like, whoa, I only just got here.
Exactly.
Maybe they're just, it's like, let me just like slowly get in before we start.
We ain't gonna slap you in the face just yet.
Straight away. But you know, that's also just an opinion, I think.
Oh, I'm with you on that too. And like even that, like that's something with our set, like we've tried to make it a journey, like the music, you know,
have it nice
like,
and dynamic, you know.
Yeah, man. Like we don't want people to just like.
No, you guys got a lot of like, even the 5 songs, definitely a very eclectic mix of kind of styles and bits and stuff going. Like, it's Serpent Seeker, like in Sunshine, quite different songs, and then that early stuff you've got as well. Like I really dug that Serpent Seeker song a lot. I've added it to my playlist.
Yeah, nice, cool, man. Like there's some cool stuff that I was real proud of that, especially like pushing my vocals a little bit more. I probably pushed them the most I ever have. Even with the guitar, like little harmonies and stuff, I've never really attempted that, and it came out alright. And just taking into account like the full composition. Yeah, you know, like
the whole picture.
The whole picture. Yeah.
Yeah, as coming from a guitarist, for me, I found that was part of the journey I found quite hard for a while. I was like, I just want my part to be great. It's like, but what about the vocals? What about the drums? What about the bass? What about the keys or whatever? It's like, are you gonna just now it's like a competition. It's just like, I don't know, I had that a little bit when I was younger, like competing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What a dumb way of thinking about it.
Yeah,
Shouldn't be competing with each other. It should be like what does the song need? What does the song need? Not what you need.
Exactly. Serve the song, not yourself, eh?
Yeah.
And even like with guitar and whatnot, like it's probably an age thing too. I don't know. I just know, for me, I just want to be the best me, right? Like I ain't gonna be some hardcore technical sweep picking, finger tapping.
Yeah.
Like you can go on YouTube for that. Like there's plenty of that on YouTube.
Yeah. So, and I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Like for me, I just like if I do a solo or whatever, I would just want it to, like we're just saying, just serve the song, come in at the right time, and just be part of that journey. Like rather than like, it's my time now.
Yeah.
You know, like,
let me show you all the scales and techniques I learned.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, listen to that. Yeah, that's kind of always the interesting thing with a lot of those technical bands. Like, there's only one technical band I listen to on a regular basis, which is Polyphia.
Yeah. Well, they're you know.
I mean, they're amazing, but it's also like their new album, which some people shout on. I was like, this is the best thing they've released, hands down, because it's like combining that real technical, progressive guitar songwriting with pop.
Yeah, right.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
And I was like, I loved it. I've talked about it a lot on this podcast as well. But it's like, comparatively to like just hearing like some of the metal stuff they did previously, like sweep picking, double kicks, changing time signatures. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, maybe a hot take, depends on who you talk to, I suppose. Like Tosin Abasi, like in his band, Animals as Leaders.
Yeah.
It's cool. I don't like listening to it. But it's cool to watch. But it's like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, I feel like some Animals as Leaders. I just don't.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's, more saying you like, appreciate, like, just the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I love the skill level. I'm a musician. Very cool. Doing some crazy tapping and sweep picking and fucking wild shit. It's cool to watch. But if that's your whole set, I don't know. Maybe just me.
I'm kind of like a stripper, you know. It's cool to see, cool to go out and catch it, but like you ain't gonna take it home. Like,
no,
you know what I mean? Like it's just a cool show.
It's like for me, the heaviest band I saw live, which I was really impressed by, and I don't really listen to like really heavy music at home, but like Varda's Murder I saw live.
Yeah, nice.
Fucking probably the best. Like as far as like a death metal, deathcore band goes, that was just amazing.
Yeah. But
I was like, yeah, this is awesome to watch live, super sick, but probably not going to go home and put on Varda's Murder.
Hard.
But death metal live, I really enjoy it live, definitely. I think that's where I mean, rock and metal's all kind of for live, I think, but that extreme metal, it's like, live is for me where it belongs.
Yeah, nice. I think I heard it might have been that one where you're talking to Scott, or no, was it the Ridden by Wolves Cat?
Oh, Ollie, yeah.
I think you guys touched on Limp Bizkit, that you're a bit of a hardcore Limp Bizkit fan.
I went to their show.
That's what I was going to ask. Did you go on Sunday?
I did. My voice might still be. I lost my voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You liked it though? It was good.
Best show I've ever seen them do. I've seen them 3 times.
Yeah, I've seen them through. No, that's a lie. I saw them big day out back in the day.
Okay.
I think it would have been 2000-ish, 2001. It was when Hot Dog came out.
Oh, yeah.
And that was fucking cool, man.
Yeah,
I was like 14.
Oh, that would have been.
And I was
on point.
Fucking up the front and loving it. Like that was just their prime to me, you know.
Of course. That's
I saw them
prime
at
those bands.
Was it Download in Melbourne? Was it a download or a sound? No, it was a download 3 years ago. Or so.
In Melbourne?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might have been.
They played with like Gojira, Mastodon, Korn, Prophets of Rage.
Yeah.
It was an awesome bill. But I love them every time, man. They're a good show.
Yeah, I saw them at Soundwave. Probably it was their first time in Australia. I think they'd been back since that incident. The big day out. When someone died.
Yeah.
And they had like a whole thing about that part. But then I saw they were really good at that. I enjoyed that a lot. But then I saw them at Storm the Gates. They came here and played that.
Yeah, that's right. I missed them for that.
Yeah, it was too much fucking around.
Yeah.
Which I understand. That's a bit of a part of the shtick, but it was too much. Like, let's make Nookie 10 minutes long. And I was like, doesn't need to be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But last weekend's ago, I brought some mates along, and they're not really into like some of them like rock and stuff, but
Yeah.
not really like metal, not really Limp Bizkit. And I was like, it'll be fun as fuck because I've been doing karaoke and I sing Rolling and get hyped up. I love that shit. It's so much fun. And they're all like, oh, this is crack up, typical Scott, fucking singing Limp Bizkit. And then I was like, you guys should come. You guys have a lot of fun. Trust me, you'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they loved it. And I was really happy about that.
Yeah, well, I had heaps of friends go. Chris, our bass player, he went. He loved it. My wife went, funny enough. She had a friend with a ticket became available, and I was like, you go. You know, I do plenty of solo missions. It's your turn, love. You go. And she loved it, Because her favourite song is Boiler, and they played that.
They did.
They don't play it often.
No, because I see them live twice. I never see them play it.
Yeah. And from what I saw...
Underrated song.
Yeah.
Super underrated. So I got to see that, and what else did they play? They played a couple of... They did the Killing of a Name cover. That was fun.
They always do a cover,
Yeah, they generally do a cover. They did Behind Blue Eyes, which I was surprised.
Yeah.
I've never seen them do that.
Nah, never.
That was the first Limp Bizkit song I heard.
Really?
I guess I'm a little bit. It's the first because I heard them on the radio.
Yeah, hard.
So that's the first one I ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah, when Hot Dog came out, that was my jam.
Yeah, I didn't have any older brothers or anything like that, and music at home, wasn't really supposed to listen to stuff like that. But then I think it was Behind Blue Eyes I heard, and then I heard Take a Look Around.
Yeah.
Probably just I'd heard it, but I didn't really know who it was.
Yeah.
And then but then also there's a lot of songs like Rollin'. Like I didn't watch heaps of wrestling back in the day, when I was real young, but I know people who did. And I knew that song was associated with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck, I know loads of their songs already. And then I heard My Generation, and I was like, this is a DJ solo?
Yeah,
I was like, who does DJ solos?
It's
this is
awesome,
so dope.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was kind of silly and fun. And it was really weird because high school for me was, I guess, like 2000s, like late 2000s, early 2010s. Like Limp Bizkit was not cool, like at all. Like that time had kind of gone. So
I was at high school, bro, in like the new metal
peak,
era.
Because for me it was the metalcore era, and like the emo, that stuff was huge.
Yeah.
So I was like, but I found the new metal because I love Linkin Park. But Linkin Park was still accepted somehow. But I guess they were just so big. But
yeah, they sort of transcended.
They did. They were still cool, but all that other stuff was like not that cool.
Yeah, like Deftones, they managed to see
Deftones managed to keep going.
Yeah.
Machine Head, they had a little new metal phase,
Yeah.
but then they got back to metal again.
Yeah.
Still love that album, Blackening, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's fucking grunty.
But with that Take a Look Around, like that came out on like the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which had like that Metallica, I Disappear. Like I reckon is one of the greatest soundtracks to come out.
What did someone say to me?
Oh,
boy band Metallica.
Yeah. You know, like that soundtrack though is pretty dope.
That's a cool soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember I learned I Disappear. That was a fucking cool song. I get the wah, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously lots of wah.
Yeah, lots of wah. Always got to have the wah.
Always got to have the Kirk wah going.
Yeah.
What do you think of Kirk's guitar solos?
I think with Kirk, my quick thing was I think people got to give him a break. Like,
yeah,
he's earned his stripes, man. Like
people troll him a lot, eh?
Yeah, like let's look at any other industry, man. If you an old carpenter or whatnot, you know, like a 50-year-old carpenter that's at work and whatnot, and he's stuck in his ways, man. There's a certain way of him crafting this couch and this chair and whatnot. He isn't looking for new techniques in how to make the chair and whatnot. He does what he knows.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean.
No animals as leaders, like
yeah.
That's just not him, you know?
Well, yeah. No, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, I do enjoy, like, out of all the guitar solos, like I'm not really a massive, it's very rare a guitar solo will impress me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, not because I'm snobby, I just get bored. I think that's why, because I hear somebody shred and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But obviously the Metallica ones are classic, like I can sing them, right? You probably can as well.
Yeah.
They're just so iconic. But then it's same with like like Rage Against the Machine, like those are guitar solos, but they're just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
They're more like sounds.
Yeah, it's more like DJ mix. That was cool. I watched like a video of Tom Morello back when Rage was still going, talking about how he approaches his guitar. And like how he becomes like a DJ. That's basically, he was like, I want heavy riffs and I want to be a DJ in the band. And I was like, back then that's very unique. That's so cool. So I thought that was
Did you see
sick.
that footage of like their first ever gig?
Yeah, at a school or something. Yeah. That was awkward.
I like that. It was awkward, but did you see people stopping?
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is
coming
that?
up and being like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
In the end, they had a little crowd. Like, I thought it was pretty cool.
That's how you know that I think you're doing something right.
I think so.
You get people being like, what the fuck? Let me have a little look.
But with Kirk, back to him, I like, because I've seen a few interviews around like, you know, his approach to guitar lately and whatnot. And he said something real cool. I thought it was something about guitar vocabulary, you know.
Yeah.
Like when he went into the studio, like he said he prepped his guitar vocabulary with a few licks and whatnot. So, and like you could hear it in the album. There's a lot of recycled little tricks, like you know, this little hammer on a pull off here, a little tap, or like, you know, bring the wire in halfway or whatever. But so he just said, like, I just went in with a few tricks to pull out, and that was like, you know, when it was solo time, I did the solo. So he sort of went away from the storytelling approach that we've been talking about, and it's more like just do the solo here, and it's a solo. And I think that just came from like the whole Saint Anger thing, with no solos.
There was no solos.
You know?
That documentary is funny.
I watched that again recently.
Did you?
Yeah, man. Watching it again just makes you cringe even more. Like, I actually went in with the intention of like, maybe it's not as bad as I remember. But it is.
It's pretty funny. Like, it's just, bad. I think one of my favorite parts, there's a lot of favorite moments. I think it's when like James is playing like just playing a riff, and then Lars is like, it's just so stock.
Stock. The use of that word stock.
Riff. Like, I know what he means as well, and I'm like, oh, like that.
But coming from Lars too,
that's
stock
funny.
drama.
I know. It's like, it's just stock.
Yeah. I love, when it was...
And Dave Mustaine having a moan for the billionth time about how he got kicked out of the band.
Oh, yeah, and like, we can't get enough of that.
Oh, no. You know, Ultimate Guitar, like, I actually stopped following them because I quite enjoyed it for a bit when they had like a song breakdown series.
Right,
It was really cool to have this whole article about the guitars they used, the tunings, the background of why they recorded it. So I was like, real sick. But then it would be like, let's talk about Dimebag Darrell again and how he died and all that. Let's talk about Metallica, Dave Mustaine again. I was like, well, we're running out of ideas. Dave Mustaine, Dimebag Darrell, like maybe like Sex Pistols, Ozzy. I was like, all these guys are like, oh, let's just we can recycle this again. Let's do that. And I just got really over it.
Yeah. I've been excuse me, doing something similar with the whole breakdowns of our gear and whatnot on our social.
I know. Yeah, I saw that. That's really cool.
I thought it's something a little bit different.
That's fun.
And it's funny, like you don't know if people like it or not, but like. I was actually at that Auckland gig. I had a random come up to me and say, "Oh, I actually follow you guys and watch your little breakdowns. Yeah, they're quite cool." So I was like, "All right, that's enough." Going back to what I said, like if one guy likes it, cool.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
That's fun.
Yeah, just something different.
Yeah. Well, I think there are a lot of people who do appreciate it. A lot of people who play guitar, and even if it's something basic, it's like, oh, I gotta have like a massive rig and explain it. It's like, no, you can just be like, oh, here's my amp. Here's what I put my EQ to. Here's why. And I think it's cool. And then people be like, oh, I didn't think of putting my treble there, or I didn't think of like using this type of lead, or I don't know.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Like people will pick up something.
I think with my breakdowns too, like I won't go too detailed on it because I am sort of like presenting to the masses. It's just more of a like, hey, this is a chorus pedal. You could hear it on this song and press this.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Like, you know,
I see that.
That's enough. Like where they're like, oh. Like, you know, I had a guy at work, so I didn't even know pedals were a thing. So, like, you know.
Yeah. I remember, what was it? It was quite funny. It was like, I think it was Bring the Horizon said, when they play one of their first shows or early on, and they had foldbacks.
Yeah.
And they were like, why are there speakers on the stage? They should be turned around.
Yeah, they just didn't know the whole concept.
Yeah. No, it's like, why is there foldbacks?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, don't you hear yourself? It's like, oh, we never hear ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like,
what is this luxury?
What do you mean? I was like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's funny.
Welcome to the big time.
A few moments like that. Or even like, I remember feeling real dumb in the studio, and I was just like, had like my headphones, and I had like the headphone jack, and I'm like, I was like, but I only had the mini jack. I didn't have the actual jack. I'm like, where do you go? Yeah. They've been like, you really got no idea? And they were like, you fucking idiot, you got to put on the jack. And I was like,
the session's off.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I can't plug it in, cancel. Like, I'm, okay.
Yeah.
Definitely have a few moments like that. I'm like, yep, that's me.
Yeah, crack
That's
man.
fun. Oh, sweet, dude. I think we're going to approaching near the end.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going good.
Let's go on quick, eh?
Yeah, bro.
It's been real cool talking with you.
I think we could do a couple of quick fires before we head off.
Yeah, do it.
And yeah, let's just fucking roll into it. All right. Band you're listening to right now that people should know about.
I got to give Powder Shoot some love, man. You heard of those cats down south?
Shoot some love?
Yeah. No, I'm giving them some love.
Oh, sorry.
Powder Shoots.
Powder Shoots.
CHUTES.
Powder Shoots.
They're teenagers and whatnot.
Cool.
I actually think they got a song on the Rock, and it was in the Rock 1000 thing.
Wicked.
Moths to a Flame. So I've got to give them a solid shout out because I really love like their content. I really love their music. I reckon their guitarist like these kids are ahead of their time, man. Like if they're doing this stuff now, like look out. Like,
yeah.
Like look out. They're like, I messaged them a lot because I definitely want to one day do a gig with those guys because they're cool, and really following the Boondocks closely as well. So that's on a local scene, and I do need to venture further out in terms of my listening,
Sure.
palette, I suppose. But what have I been thrashing lately? Quite a random one. John Butler Trio.
Oh, yeah?
Got a lot of love for that,
Yeah. I saw them at a big day out, like, all long time.
Really?
Way back.
I've never seen them.
Yeah. Very, yeah. Definitely probably not a big day out act, but it was cool to watch them.
God, they might have been. Did they play in Boiler Room somewhere random?
Nah, it was main stage.
It was main stage.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was just a bit, like, buzzy. But I remember, like, I watched them and I was like, this is cool. But I was like, it's not really sort of... I mean, I have a little break, I suppose. But it was like, I don't know. But yeah, for like their own show, I bet it's amazing. I've seen videos. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been bouncing between them insane. And Fleetwood Mac, funny enough.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac.
I sort of find that like when I'll get my little group on Spotify or whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's sort of just you go to when you go to the gym or whatever, they keep coming on and it's not till you make a conscious decision like, okay, time for something else. But yeah, they seem to be on rotation lately, yeah.
Something I haven't asked you actually is hobbies outside of music.
Yeah, hobbies outside of music. Do the gym for sanity. I did a lot of kickboxing for a while.
Wicked. Did you ever compete or anything?
No, I never competed. Like I got to a point where I probably should have. But God, I think then like I was mid-20s and sort of like we talked about earlier on with the whole, just my confidence wasn't there, that self-doubt. I probably should have, because I was doing well with the sparring. Like I was like, on fire, but like just that. And I think you got to have a bit of animal in you, man.
Yeah.
Like to really, with fighting, you got to like, and like I've had street fights growing up and whatnot. Yeah. And like, that was a young and dumb for me. It's not something like, I'm not passionate about beating people up,
smashing people's faces.
You know,
you do get those characters. I find that at the gym, you get a couple, and I'm like, you're a little bit fucking unhinged. Like,
yeah, bro.
When I do a little jiu-jitsu as well. Sometimes
nice.
Someone gets me in a choke, and I'm like, you can fucking stop.
Yeah,
but some people just like, I guess got to control it.
Some people treat it like a fight, bro.
Yeah, some people really do. Like, I've done sparring, and I used to do a lot of boxing sparring.
Yeah, nice.
I had definitely a few fair share of black eyes and blood noses and all that. But there was a couple of guys I'd be with, and I'm like, fuck me, like we're just doing like a match, We're not. I'm not here to kill you. But they'd sometimes be trying to kill me.
Yeah,
It was just like,
well, like, even I found that like you'd be doing like just a basic drill, like, hey, let's just trade off 1-2 leg kick or something, just nice and light. We're just technique, and they just start fighting. Yeah, and you're like, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah.
And you just but with that, like, I'm just going all in with the music thing lately. Like, I work a lot. So as far as, work, got to have that quality time with the missus, of course,
Sure.
Love my dogs. We've got dogs. We don't have kids.
Nice.
So
what kind of dogs do you have?
That, we got rescue dogs, so we got 3, and they range
cool.
from like 8 to 9 in terms of years.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and we love them. They're our kids, and so...
Do you dress them up?
No.
Some people do. Some people dress up their dogs, and I'm just like...
To be fair...
I'm like, maybe that's a bit too far on the kid part, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't need to be dressed up.
I'm with you on that. But yeah, honestly, man, between all that, I got a pretty busy life, so...
That sounds it.
And like, with the music, we just made that call, man. Like, as soon as we started releasing stuff in May, like, let's just go all in and give it the best we got for a few years and just see what happens,
Cool. Piece of gear that you can't go to a gig without of? Okay, don't say a pedal. Let's say a pedal.
Yeah.
A pedal you can't...
A pedal?
Like you can't live without.
Yeah. Let's go. Since we're Kirk-inspired, say something like a wah pedal.
Yeah.
What I've done by design, man, with all our songs, it was really thinking ahead for the music thing. And like, I really stripped back and used no pedals,
Wicked, that's cool.
Yeah, man, because I just think like, okay, I'm trying to be a front man. I need to perform. I need to put on a show.
You don't want to worry about pedals.
I don't want to be doing a tap dance. Like, before I became
what you're saying.
The singer, I had a pedal board like Battlestar Galactica. Like, it looked like Darth Vader on your t-shirt there. It was lit up. I had 20 different pedals. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So like, I fully stripped it back. And for these gigs, I had, honestly, a tuner, a fuzz wah, for like one little leady thing, just if I needed it. And I use my channels a lot. Like they're my pedals, like clean, you know, a little bit of gain and then all out. Heavy gain, and that's it. And I've got a vocal pedal for doubling up the voice.
Cool.
Which is cool.
Yeah, that's fun.
For someone who's not a vocalist, but, you know, giving it his best crack, that does help.
Hey, bro, you are a vocalist. You definitely back yourself on that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I got to more, because, yeah. So, yeah, that's so to answer your question, what could I go about? I think that vocal pedal, you know, I got to have that.
Got to have that.
Yeah, got to have that.
Vocal doubling.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. What else do I have? I'll have one more. Who's your favourite band member?
Who's my favourite band member? I can't choose. I have to say me.
I'm the best.
Yeah, I am the best. I love them both for different reasons, man. They are solid. I love our dynamic. Like I said, I think Chris, I think he's 23. God, I feel bad now. But he's 23. I'm late 30s. Rich probably doesn't want me to say it, but he's early 40s. But we've got such a range between us, but we've just got that common passion that brings us all together for what we do. It's cool to have three people that really love what we do. We really love the songs, and it's self-assuring too. Like knowing I got those two guys that back me. I feel I could do anything.
That's fucking cool, bro. Well, one of my cameras died, so that's fun.
Yeah. Sweet, man.
Yeah, I'll call it there. Hey, bro, thanks so much for taking the time, coming up from the Tron, coming on. Any news you want to quickly announce about Haast Hunter?
Hey, look, no news, but we're going for it. And I appreciate and love all the support. We're constantly in the studio, constantly writing. We want to drop an album. That's what we're aiming towards. So just hold tight. We're coming,
Wicked, man.
Yeah.
Fucking sweet. We'll call it there. All right, thanks everyone for listening. Bye.